Netflix. We all know this company. It's something that takes up most of our lives, and we all know it changed our lives from not us having to go in-store, and we didn't have to pay any late fees anymore. But people don't realize that the late fee was actually a huge part of that. It was when Reed Hastings, CEO of Netflix, had to pay $40 because he was overdue on Apollo 13. Hi, my name's Nico Escalante.
And I'm Kayla Marquez.
And we're going to talk to you, our classmates, about this company that has taken over the movie industry, and we're going to go through its beginnings, its growth, and its misgivings, and then the future that it holds. So Netflix was created in 1997 in Scotts Valley, California by Reed Hastings and Scott Randolph. Reed Hastings and Scott Randolph were both a part of the new technology industry. They had companies before. Reed Hastings had just sold his company, Pure Software, for $700 million before he started this. So he put up the startup cash for the company. They were insistent on DVDs as their form of transferring movies. Even though most people at the time didn't have DVDs and it was expensive, they still thought it was the way of the future. And their original URL was Netflix with a capital F, and that was open to the public in 1998. So then in 1999, they started a few new programs which molded it into the Netflix we know today. First of which was the Marquee program, which allowed customers to buy a subscription rather than rent per movie. And they could get 4 DVDs at once without late fees or due dates. It was $15.99 a month. And Cinematch, which is, we all know how Netflix will say recommended for you or whatever, and that was the first of that program. It started to recommend movies towards you. So now I'm going to hand it over to Kayla.
Thank you. So for my first point, I'll be going over the growth and some misgivings that Netflix has come along the way. So global expansion really began in just 2011 when they expanded to Latin America, and then in 2012 they kind of wanted to take over Europe. They started in 2012 with just Western Europe, and then through 2013 and 2014 they kind of expanded to Eastern Europe. And then in 2015 they added New Zealand and Japan. So while all this global expansion was going on, their failed endeavors also occurred as well. So in 2011, Reed Hastings decided that he wanted to make 2 different branches, not just Netflix, but Netflix and this thing called Qwikster. And so what a Qwikster was going to do was solely have DVDs, and then Netflix was going to have the online subscriptions and things like that. And they also increased the price. Without telling anybody, they just kind of like charged everyone. And this ultimately led in a big ordeal, and actually the calling for Reed Hastings' resignation, which he refused to do. Overall, Netflix within that year lost 25% of its stock and lost over 800,000 subscriptions. So it was ultimately a big loss for Netflix, but Reed Hastings kind of powered through, and in the overall, he bounced back in 2013 with the original series. And so they came out with House of Cards and shows like Orange is the New Black and things like that, and these were ultimately really big hits. They got numerous awards, critically acclaimed, and it was kind of like his pushback against the failed endeavor in 2011. And also in 2015 was their first original film that was completely produced by Netflix. It was called Beasts of No Nation, which is also critically acclaimed, and they also came out with a comedy called Ridiculous Six. Now these were their first 2 major films, and it was completely, I guess, started by Netflix and owned by Netflix. They wrote the script, they bought the producers, the actors, etc. This continued, and for my next point, the future of Netflix. So, availability worldwide. Netflix just recently announced in December that they were going to expand globally to over 200 countries within 1 year. So not only are they available all over Africa, the Middle East, Australia, and Russia, so they really they added over 200 countries and decided that they were going to dominate worldwide and not just the original countries that they were in 2015 and before. They also, I guess, recognized their original error in 2011, which was marketing. Many didn't know that their prices were going to go up, or that there was going to be 2 different branches, or any of those sort. So what they did was that they announced that they were going to invest over $1 billion in marketing, probably to Africa and like the other countries that don't really know what Netflix is, and it's just becoming fairly new, as well as the original series. So recently they announced that they were going to start 11 new shows on Netflix, ranging from kid shows to comedies to dramas to Korean soap operas, everything you can think of, they pretty much decided that they were going to do, as well as films. Sundance Film Festival was just this couple of weeks ago, and they bought 4 film rights, and they're deciding to go ahead and stream those on Netflix throughout the year. And as well as create their own films as well, because with the success of Beasts of No Nation and Ridiculous Six and things like that, they decided to invest in there. And recently they announced that they had 75 million subscribers, which was a huge, I guess, comeback for them, considering that they were considering for his resignation in 2011. So in just 3 years, they really bounced back, and they're dominating globally. So to continue, is Nico.
Okay. Well, we took you through Netflix, the company we've all learned to love, and we brought you to the beginning where it all started with Reed Hastings and Scholar Randolph. We took you then to the growth and some of the failed endeavors that it had, and then they decided to bounce back with their original series. And finally, we brought you to the future where Netflix is planned for world domination, and they'll be everywhere in the world. So if you have any questions, now will be the time.